So I'm very happy to be back with all of you this evening to discuss a very important verse from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So I would like to express my cordial gratitude to His Grace Murli Priya Prabhu, who has so much faith that I can speak. So whatever I speak is simply meant to serve all of you, especially His Grace Murli Priya Prabhu, in glorifying Krishna and purifying my own heart. Okay, with that, let us start with today's verse. So we are reading from chapter 3, verse number 26. English. I'm not very, जो भी हिंदी सीखा हूँ उस मेरे पेशेंट्स के साथ बात करके सीखा हूँ. क्या? इधर मैं हिंदी याद करके बोल सकता हूँ, उस समय जो भी प्रिपेयर किया हूँ वो भूल जाऊँगा. तो as much as possible to serve you, हिंदी में बात करने का कोशिश करता हूँ. एटलीस्ट आपका एंटरटेनमेंट तो हो जाएगा. तो ये श्लोका रिसाइट करेंगे. न बुद्धि भेदम जनये अज्ञानां कर्म संगिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्. न बुद्धिभेदं जनये अज्ञानां कर्म संगिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्. न बुद्धिभेदं जनये अज्ञानां कर्म संगिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्. Anyone would like to recite? Yes.
न बुद्धि वेदानं वेदां जनयेद् अंजनां कर्म संगिनां जसेत् सर्व कर्माणि विद्यावान् युक्तः समाचरन्.
Jai. Very nice, Prabhu. Thank you. Anyone else would like to try? Mataji, anyone? You can read one line, then हम भी आपके बीच दोहराएंगे.
न बुद्धि वेदं जनयेत्
न बुद्धि भेदं जनयेत्
अज्ञानं कर्म संगिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्त समाचरन्.
Thank you, Mataji. So इसका word to word. न, not. बुद्धि भेदम, disruption of intelligence. Janayet, he should cause. Ajnanam, of the foolish. Karma sanginam, who are attached to fruitive work. Joshayet, he should dovetail. Sarva, all. Karmani, work. Vidwan, a learned person. Yuktaha, engaged. Samacharan, practicing. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So as not to disrupt the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, He should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. Purport. Vedaishta sarvai rahameva vidya. That is the end of all Vedic rituals. All rituals, performance of sacrifices, and everything that's put in the Vedas, including all direction for material activities, are meant for understanding Krishna, who is the ultimate goal of life. But because the conditioned souls do not know anything beyond sense gratification, they study the Vedas to that end. But through fruitive activities and sense gratification, regulated by the Vedic rituals, one is gradually elevated to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a realized soul in Krishna consciousness should not disturb others in their activities or understanding, but he should act by showing how the results of all work can be dedicated to the service of Krishna. The learned Krishna conscious person may act in such a way that the ignorant person working for sense gratification may learn how to act and how to behave. Although the ignorant man is not to be disturbed in his activities, a slightly developed Krishna conscious person may directly be engaged in the service of the Lord without waiting for other Vedic formulas. For this fortunate man, there is no need to follow the Vedic rituals, because by direct Krishna consciousness, one can have all the results one would otherwise derive from following one's prescribed duties. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So in this verse, Krishna, actually in this chapter of Karma Yoga, this section what Krishna is talking about, first Arjuna is doubtful after hearing from Krishna that one has to become a Sthita Prajna. That is the goal of life. Because being a Sthita Prajna, that means one's mind is controlled and always remembering Krishna. Such a person pleases Krishna very much. So Krishna says in the end of second chapter that you should become a Sthita Prajna. Then Arjuna asks in the beginning of third chapter, Krishna, if you want me to become a Sthita Prajna, that means one whose mind is very stable. It's not vichalit. It's not chanchal. It's controlled and always remembering Krishna. You want me to become like that? I will become. I will dedicate all my energy, my resources, my faculties, जो भी मेरे पास है, सब कुछ इस उद्देश्य में लगाऊंगा ताकि मैं भी एक स्थित प्रज्ञा बन सकूं. So everything, whatever my energy, I will focus on this. So I will go to the forest and I will do that. Right? Then Krishna says, Arjuna, don't try to be over smart. You have to, be in this battle. You need to stand and fight. So then Arjuna is asking Krishna, why should I fight when it won't allow me to become a Sthita Prajna? Because in fighting, I have to, focus on things other than you. Correct? I have to focus on how I'm going to kill. I have to, strategize how I can wipe out the enemy, wipe out the enemies, wipe out the army of Duryodhan. तो उसके लिए क्या चाहिए? I have to focus my mind on so many other things of this world, but that won't make me a Sthita Prajna. So hence, I'll go to the forest, nothing else to do, I'll sit and become a Sthita Prajna. Then Krishna says, that is not the way. Why? So long the heart is not purified of so many material desires, till then one cannot meditate artificially by sitting down. That's what Krishna says. मतलब जब तक हमारा हृदय का शुद्धिकरण नहीं होगा तब तक हम शांति से बैठ के जप नहीं कर सकते. How many of you have had this experience? That whenever you sit for chanting, so many thoughts, हमारे मन में इतना सारा thought, बाकी पूरा दिन में नहीं आएगा, वो सब जप के समय ही आएगा. Any experience? No? Yes. Practically everyone, correct? So that's why Krishna says, artificial renunciation is not at all permissible. So Krishna फल्गु वैराग्य को बाहर निकाल देते हैं. So अर्जुना को बोल रहे हैं कि आपको युद्ध में आपको भाग लेना पड़ेगा, आपको युद्ध करना पड़ेगा, उसके माध्यम से हृदय का शुद्धिकरण होगा और आप आध्यात्मिक मार्ग पे प्रगति कर सकते हैं. Right? So Arjuna is bewildered. How can I make spiritual progress by a material activity? Can we make spiritual progress to material activity? हमारे काम से हम spiritual progress, आध्यात्मिक मार्ग पे हम प्रगति कर सकते हैं? Yes or no? How many yes that we can do our material work and make spiritual progress? हम कृष्णा के प्रति जा सकते हैं हमारा day to day काम के माध्यम से. Confident yes. Okay. How many of you say no, it's not possible? Just how can I work in the material world and progress to spiritual world? They are diametrically opposite. How many of you say that? 1, 2, 3. अच्छा, तो पहले ऑप्शन के लिए 50% लगभग 40 से 50% और दूसरे के लिए ओनली 1 प्रभु. सो रिमेनिंग 30-40% कांट से मतलब क्या? सो कृष्णा इस चैप्टर का क्या सौंदर्य है? कृष्णा बताते हैं कैसे हमारा भाव, हमारा एटीट्यूड को एडजस्ट करके जो भी हम डेली लाइक पैसा के लिए एक्सेट्रा हम धंधा करते हैं, मतलब काम करते हैं, उसके माध्यम से हम आध्यात्मिक प्रगति भी कर सकते हैं. So that is the art of work that Krishna is teaching Arjuna in the chapter 3 and also goes into chapter 4 and 5. So when I was preparing for my NEET exam for MD. So then I was having so much trouble just focusing on studies because the mind naturally tends to focus on result, right? So I was thinking, what if I don't get? What if this happens, that happens? What if I don't get the desired branch? What if I end up in a branch which has always 24-hour duty, day duty like that? Because surgeons and all have to work 72 hours also sometimes, continuous at a stretch. So I didn't want like that, then I can't chant. So then I was thinking, and whenever I open the book, my mind will go to thinking. Then my counselor, His Grace Vajakrishna Prabhu, he told me, you read chapter 3 to 5 of Bhagavad Gita and then you'll be able to study. And exactly when I followed that, Krishna has given such secrets in the 3rd chapter that any person working in the material world should read, should become thorough in 3 to 5, Karma Yoga section, full. Then what happens? We work in this world, at the same time don't get affected by the world. Right? So, हम इस दुनिया में काम करेंगे, but इस दुनिया के जो मेटल एनर्जी होती है उसके प्रभाव के अंदर नहीं आएंगे. Correct? It's a very phenomenal thing. That's why that's the power of Bhagavad Gita. That's the power of Krishna's Vakya. Right? That's why Bhagavad Gita is a song of God. And hence we do so much discussion. Just by reading Bhagavad Gita, there was one His Grace, not remembering his name, Prabhupada disciple. So, Haripat Prabhu. So he told me that how he came to Krishna consciousness. He was working a job in America, US, and he somehow got this book, Bhagavad Gita as it is. And he found it really interesting. So he took 3 days leave from his office and just read continuously and finished it. And then he dedicated his full life. Because such profound knowledge is there in Bhagavad Gita. Correct? So here Krishna tells Arjuna, no. If you try to artificially give up work, then what will happen? Your mind, which is uncontrolled, will devour you. It will not allow you to be focused on higher purpose of life. So what to do? Krishna tells Arjuna, you should learn the art of work. So 3.9 is Yajñātāt karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanah tadattam karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara. That means Krishna is telling Arjuna, instead of giving up work, learn to work on my account. Yajna Artat. Yajna is who? Vishnu. Yajno by Vishnu, Shastra explain. So, जब हम कृष्ण के लिए काम करेंगे, वो काम उस काम से, उस कार्य से हमको कर्म बंधन नहीं होगा. Understood? I'll take questions little later. Okay, otherwise I'll forget the flow. So, अगर हमारा काम से हमको कर्म बंधन नहीं होना है, कर्म में नहीं फंसना है, तो हमको क्या करना है? कौन बता सकते हैं? हमको क्या करना है ताकि हमारा काम से हमको कर्म बंधन में नहीं फंसेंगे हम? तो क्या करना है? Stay detached, but that's very difficult, no? To practice detachment, okay. सिर्फ माता जी से आंसर कर रहे हैं. हर समय ऐसे ही होता है.
You do your activity thinking that it's Krishna has given this work.
Okay.
You just do it because it's a responsibility Krishna has given you.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
not thought process.
Okay.
That's the responsibility.
Basically, Krishna has provided this job,
Yeah.
so think like that and do it gratefully. Okay. Then, someone else answer.
Dedicate the work to the Krishna and the last.
Dedicate the work to Krishna. Okay. Very good. Mataji, someone else had a point. Someone said offer the results also. Yeah. Very good. Okay. Yes. So do your work for Krishna. What does that mean? 3 things. 1. Arrange your work in such a way you have some exclusive time for Krishna. You cannot be working 24/7 and say, Krishna, I love you. I am doing this work for you. But money and all I will enjoy. I like this work. So that is not love. You arrange your work. Maybe you can work 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever is practical. But 2 घंटे, 1 घंटे, एटलीस्ट हाफ एन आवर एक दिन में कृष्ण के लिए, एक्सक्लूसिव कृष्ण के लिए देना है, ताकि आप जप कर सकते हैं, नहीं तो हाँ श्रवण कर सकते हैं, कीर्तन कर सकते हैं, भक्तों का संग ले सकते हैं. करेक्ट? सो वन इज सो दैट अरेंज योर वर्क इन सच अ वे दैट यू कैन गिव एक्सक्लूसिव टाइम फॉर कृष्णा. 1. Second, when you work according to Krishna's instructions. Krishna has given any instruction how to work in this world? Where? Anyone knows? Very good. Yes, Krishna has told Mam Anusmaran Nityacha. You should remember Krishna. Correct? Like in my biochemistry class once, our teacher was explaining some biochemistry cycles in the body, something. And he himself, he was not like full devotee or something, he was just pious. Which he was explaining how everything is happening so finely in the body. That means God must exist. Like that. So he is able to remember God during the course of his daily work. Correct? So Mamanasmanam Vidyacha. Correct. Then any instruction Krishna has given? 2.47.
Don't expect any results.
Yeah. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturpur ma te sangastva karmani. So Krishna is saying don't be attached to result, but do your work to the best. Correct? Don't become lazy because the result is not yours. So like that Krishna gives 4 instructions in that one verse. तो उसका पालन करना है, उसके हिसाब से काम करना है. Correct? That's second point. Third point, how karma can become karma yoga is जो भी हमारे काम से फल मिलता है उसको भगवान या भगवान के लिए अर्पण करना है. मानस देहोगे हो जो किछु मोर अर्पिलु तुवा परे नंद किशोर. Oh Nanda Kishore Krishna, now I've got this fruit because I've worked, but I would like you to have this fruit. हम भोग लगाते हैं ना, जो भी खाना उससे पहले हम भोग लगाएंगे. जैक फ्रूट भी है जगन्नाथ के लिए, जगन्नाथ का फेवरेट है जैक फ्रूट, कटल. सो इसी तरह जो भी हम करते हैं, जो फल मिलता है वो काम से वो कृष्ण को भोग लगाना है. उसके बाद हम प्रसाद के रूप में स्वीकार कर सकते हैं. करेक्ट? Even our life should become an offering to Krishna, right? But we practice first with offering fruits of work, then comes life later on. Like that. So 3 principles. First, arrange your work in such a way you have exclusive time for Krishna. Second, follow, when you're working, work according to Krishna's standard. Don't work according to the foolish, ignorant mass. The foolish, ignorant mass, they want to work 24/7. And at night they want to drink and smoke cigarette and sleep late night, get up 10 o'clock and run to office. Why we should follow them? Work according to Krishna's standard. Yanisha sarvabhutani tasyam jagati niyami. Correct? Which means that for us, what is good, for them it is bad. For them what is good, that is our bad. So we don't have to work according to their standard. We work according to Krishna's standard. So that is second. And third one is, जो भी फल मिलता है कृष्ण को अर्पण करना है. 3. Okay? बाद में पूछूंगा. जो भी आंसर देंगे उसको एक्स्ट्रा स्वीट प्रसाद मिलेगा. ठीक है. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, so work like this, and when you work according to in such a way that I am pleased, that itself is sufficient to purify your heart. You don't need to go to a forest and sit and meditate to attain me. Through your daily work, by working according to my instructions, you will attain purification. You can remember me, you will attain perfection also. Right? And then he says, what is really needed in the society today? We have thousands and millions of wrong examples. Like one of the richest men, Elon Musk. What example he is setting? Though in many interviews he asks very spiritual questions. मुझे ये जाना है कि लाइफ का पर्पस क्या है, गोल क्या है. We feel okay, at least he also has some spiritual inquiry. Correct? But if you see, he is not a married man. So I heard in one lecture that he has like 14 wives and 9 kids, and no families. 14 wives, 9 kids, and 0 family. So if the leaders, so-called leaders in the society, are giving such an example to the modern youth, then what will happen to culture? What will happen to values? So what is in dire need in today's society? Good example. That's why 3:20 when Krishna is saying, Yadyadacharati ishreshtaha tattadevetaro janaha sayam pramanam kurute lokastat anuvartate. They will follow. Why? Because you are setting example, Arjuna. I need people to give examples in this world. That pleases Krishna. Why that pleases Krishna? Because in the ultimate chapter, all of us, not only here, but everyone around, everyone is Krishna's child. Aham bija pradah pita. So Krishna is the loving, seed-giving father to all of us. And hence, Krishna is equally anxious about everyone. Correct? So the more we connect a son to a father, the more the father is pleased. Right? Just like in US, there's a saying, you want to please the master or you want to please a man, love his dog. Similarly, you want to please a man, you just show affection to the child. Right? So sometimes, some patients come to hospital and then for some reason I'll be in some procedure, etc. Then it will become a little late. They have booked appointment at 11 a.m. I'll see them at 12 noon. And then they're a little angry, why doctor took so much time, etc. You will all have that experience. But doctor story we only know. so
patient side story we know.
Yeah. Like that. So then what? They will bring their kid. So the mother or father has to show and they'll bring their kid. So what I will do? I will just give some I'll show some love and affection to the child, I'll encourage him, I'll pat on his back, like that, and the parents are immediately satisfied. So then, okay, this is good doctor. So in that way, when we show affection to the child, father is pleased. So when we show compassion, when we show love to all the living entities in this world, who is pleased? Krishna is pleased. Right? So there's a verse also in Bhagavatam, I'm not going to deep depth into that. So it says that how you can please Lord Janardana very quickly. How you can please? When you show one of the three ways. One of them is to show compassion to all the living entities in this world. That pleases Krishna very much. So that's why Krishna is saying, Yadyad Acharati Shrestha Arjuna, fight in this battle. By fighting in this battle, you are setting an example for the whole world to follow. So don't simply run to the forest, because the tendency of people in this world is imitating the external. Imitating external means Arjuna becomes a sadhu. Everyone will want to become a sadhu, correct? But they won't imitate the spiritual progress of Arjuna. Maybe Arjuna, he had, if for example, if so many people become, like in ISKCON society, many people take saffron cloth and become brahmacharis, correct? But it's not very much appreciated in the outside world. Why? Because they only see the external. Oh, sadhu ban gaya. Maybe उनका शादी नहीं हो रहा था इसलिए साधु बन गया, correct? उनका इतना salary अच्छा, well paid job नहीं था इसलिए साधु बन गया. So then they say, oh, this ISKCON is encouraging this kind of escapism. अगर हमारा जीवन में कुछ समस्या आएगा, हमको फेस करना है. But ISKCON क्या सिखाता है? पूरा जगत को भागना कैसे, correct? How to run away from the problem. So that is wrong. But the tendency of the external world is only to observe and imitate the externals. They won't understand the intention. And that's why Krishna is saying, Arjuna, if you who is of such an important stature in the society. In the society, Arjuna was like a leader because he had so many qualities. He was such an important person. He was Pandava, very, very renowned and very famous warrior. If you simply run away from battle and take sannyas, then what people will do? They think this only has to be done. Right? They will all prematurely do without, purifying the heart, and then they all will fall down from spiritual path because heart is not pure. Then they will get into wrong, sinful activities to earn a living, and hence those people who are on the righteous path, maybe not very much spiritually ahead. For example, I'll give you better context. So, you all have heard of yoga ladder. Have you heard of yoga ladder? How many of you know about yoga ladder? Okay, only few. Okay, fine. So, I'll give you this context. It's very important to understand. Now, all the jivas who are part and parcels of Krishna in the spiritual world have come to this world. हम सब आए हैं इस दुनिया में. क्यों आए हैं दुनिया में? Very, very few people are there to go back and take all of us back, like Murli Priya Prabhu.
Enjoy करें.
क्यों आए हैं? पता है किसी को क्यों आप आए हैं इस दुनिया में? Okay, but what you wanted to do in this world? Yeah, भोग करने के लिए आए ना. तो भोग करने के लिए इस दुनिया, we have come to this world. But Krishna is such a loving father, he knows that we will not be happy in this world. So हमारा पीछे आते हैं वो परमात्मा के रूप में, correct? Now Krishna will never force the jiva to go along with him. But wherever required, he is accompanying us. He is there for us, and if we lend our ear to him, he is there to give you the right counsel or advice. Okay? Now Krishna has also devised a way by which the jiva who is completely turned his back full, bahirmukh हो गए हैं एक जीवा, तो उनके लिए कृष्णा एक मार्ग, like he has designed a way by which he can ultimately come to Krishna, and that is the Vedas manual. You take, for example, you have a route map, right? You have to first go right, then straight, then right and left, and go like this, and you reach ISKCON HSR level. Right? That's why I came. I was seeing the map like that. So Krishna has also designed a way by which all the jivas who have left the spiritual world and come to the material world to enjoy separately from Krishna can go back to him, and that is the Vedas. So in Vedas, how we can come, or how a jiva can approach Krishna through the Vedas, That is through the yoga ladder. Now we all have come here to enjoy, but Krishna says don't simply enjoy. Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Kama is enjoy. That's what we want. And to enjoy, we cannot have free enjoyment anywhere. If you want enjoyment, you need Artha or some facility. Right? To get that Artha, besides adopting means of adharma, take dharma. Adharma means a person is smoking and trying to enjoy. No need. Leave this intoxication. Rather do it in this way. Like for example, many people are attached to meat eating. Correct? But ऐसे ही मारेंगे और खाएंगे तो वो अधर्म है. तो उसके लिए पाप लगेगा और आपको और सजा मिलेगी नरक में. तो कृष्णा ने क्या किया? He said, okay, एक शास्त्र है, like somewhere in the corner of the Vedas, लिखा है कि इस like तांत्रिक विधि के द्वारा आप ये एक meat eating कर सकते हैं. Like you can offer the sheep or goat etc. to some Chandi or Kali, Bhadrakali etc. and take that meat. Somewhere in the corner of Vedas. Why it is mentioned? So that even those people who are completely away from Krishna, who are attached to meat eating in the mode of ignorance, they can also somehow come. So if they start following that ritual, what happens? They start following Vedas, and somewhere while following Vedas you come across Krishna, the supreme person of Godhead. Then you start reading Bhagavad Gita, right? Then you through Bhagavad Gita you start reading Bhagavatam, you start chanting Hare Krishna and you become devotee. That's Krishna's plan. So wherever a person may be in this world, he tries to connect. That's the purpose of the Vedas. So a person wants to earn nice wealth. So the Vedas give him rituals, right? Gana Homa, this Lakshmi Puja. So many rituals and pujas are there so that a person can grow on the ladder of yoga, right? इसको बोलते हैं कर्म कांड. कर्म कांड means you do some ritual or yoga or yajna, and through that yajna you get a profit or benefit. And what is that benefit? You will get prosperity, you will get wealth, you will get job, you will get good wife, husband, etc. Right? Now, when the person is doing this karma kanda, he is using the Vedas to do karma kanda. But what is the ultimate goal of the Veda? Vedaishcha sarvair ahameva. Who is aham? Krishna, right? So you have to understand Krishna by reading the Vedas. So when a person starts reading the Vedas for karma kanda purpose, then what happens is he also comes across this point that ultimately Krishna's anugraha, sanction is required for the yajna phala also. You're doing karma kanda, fine. You're getting the result, fine. How am I getting result? Because somewhere Krishna is there sanctioning, then only I can get. So many devatas may be there, but ultimately it is Krishna who is sanctioning, because of which I am getting the phala. So then he starts inquiring more about Krishna, right? And then he develops this jnana. Okay, and then he starts entering into Jnana Kanda of the Vedas, then Upasana Kanda. Like that he comes to Bhakti, right? So in the yoga ladder, ultimately the point is to come to Bhakti or how to love Krishna, right? But for people in this world who are completely away from Krishna, for them you have to give Karma Yoga only, right? So that's why first Krishna starts with Karma Yoga. So he's telling that you have to engage your senses. Now, how many of you know about the three modes? Sattva Guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna? You know something about them? बाकी सब लोग को पता नहीं है रजोगुण, सत्वगुण और तमोगुण के बारे में? पता है ना? तो हाथ उठाइए.
Question like me.
So now when the jiva enters this world, he gets covered over by mental energy. Okay, this will be more elaborately discussed probably in the next week, where 3.27 will be discussed. But in brief, the jiva which enters this world is दुनिया को प्रवेश करने के बाद क्या होगा? जीव को मेटेरियल शक्ति मतलब बहिरंग शक्ति और महामाया के प्रभाव के अंदर वो तीन गुण मतलब रजोगुण, सत्वगुण और तमोगुण के अंदर वो प्रभावित होके वो like Prabhupada calls it contamination, right? So he comes under the influence of the three modes, and then he forgets his original identity and starts thinking that, oh, I am a human, I am a doctor, I am an engineer, I am a wife, I am a husband, so many identities, correct? Now for a person who has so many identities, how can he tell about Krishna? Because he's already thinking that I'm this body. So he's completely forgetful about Krishna. If you go and tell him that this is all illusion, what are you working in this world? Ultimately you have to die and you have to give up work, and whatever you have earned, everything you will lose. Immediately if you say to any even now this moment you can go and try. Go to the Domino's pizza there and tell to that person, this is all an illusion, whatever you're earning is nothing permanent, everything is stolen at the time of death. What will he say? He said, he will, first of all he will say, what nonsense are you speaking? He might retaliate or just ignore you. Right? So that's not the way. So Krishna is saying that if you want to convey, philosophy or Krishna consciousness, if you want to give to someone else, you have to do it according to their level of understanding. Right? For that you have to understand at what level of the yoga ladder they are at. Right? The yoga ladder is first out of Vedas or following Vedas. After following Vedas, is he a karma kandi or karma yogi? Karma kandi means he is just working for himself. Means sakama karma. मेरे लिए काम करता हूँ, मेरे लिए भोग करता हूँ. Correct ना? Karma kandi. Beyond that is karma yogi. That means he works in this world, but he offers the fruits to Krishna. Beyond that, he becomes a jnana yogi. That means whatever he reads scriptures, he understands about Krishna, he inquires about Krishna, and he makes more inquiries about Krishna. Then like that, as he gets to know more and more about Krishna, bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti. He comes to Vasudeva Sarvamiti platform, which is a very high platform, because he is continuously reading scriptures, he associates with devotees. Like that, he becomes Bhakta Yogi. That's why 647 Krishna says, of all the paths, which is the best? Bhakti is the best. That's the topmost rung of the ladder. The topmost point is Bhakti. Right? Samaya Yukta Tamomataha. Who is connected to me at heart, he is the best of all yogis, Krishna is saying. So, if we want a person, because when we are practicing Krishna consciousness in this world, we feel happiness. How many of you are happy in Krishna consciousness? Krishna को याद करके, उनका नाम का जप करके कितने लोग यहाँ खुश हैं? सभी? पक्का? Trying to be happy.
That's the reason people are coming here.
Yeah. Jai. That is Mundi Priya Prabhu's success. Yes. So, my point was that when we find that bliss in Krishna consciousness, we naturally want to give to someone else. For example, now all of you are so happy in Krishna consciousness, kirtan karenge, bhajan karenge, right? नाम लेंगे, प्रसाद पाएंगे, दूसरों को दूसरों का सेवा करेंगे, कितना आनंद है. तो अभी एक नया व्यक्ति, कुछ रैपिडो नहीं तो जेप्टो, कुछ एक व्यक्ति आएगा कुछ डिलीवर करने के लिए. आप भी इतना उत्साह के साथ उनको भी डिवोटी बनाने का प्रयास करेंगे. करेक्ट ना? हाँ, कितने लोग? माता जी ऑल्सो फॉलोइंग फुटस्टेप्स ऑफ हस्बैंड. अच्छा, like that, correct na? So that enthusiasm comes, that utsaha comes, that I also want him to become devotee. Correct? Why? Because we are experiencing Krishna in our heart. Only then you can. So preaching is not about philosophy. Rather, many times if you end class on time, people are happy. So preaching is not about philosophy. Preaching is about sharing that love that you are experiencing for Krishna. That is preaching. So who can preach? Yes, whose heart is overfilled with love for Krishna. If your heart is only starving, you are not experiencing Krishna, you have nothing to give to others. Right? You may give 2 hours pravachan, but nobody will be inspired because you have nothing to give. But if your heart is overflowing, that extra rasa you can share with others. Right? So that is preaching. Like there is one devotee called Punya Shloka Hari Prabhu in Sheshapuram temple. So he is they had shifted him to a Ramaya center, like for boys, youth. And he was, they asked him to do preaching to new boys in Ramaya college, etc., etc. But he is so, always talking about Krishna, singing Krishna songs like the folklore, Dasa Padagalu. We say so many Das. How many are from Karnataka here? Nobody. Okay. Few. Okay. So there are some devotees in Karnataka, like Purandar Das, Kanaka Das. So their songs he will always keep singing. So when he shifted to the Ramaya voice, he was not very eager in preaching to youth. He just likes to sing songs and remember Krishna like that. But he would do whatever he is told. But after few days or months, so many families around Ramaya boys, they started coming to that center which is meant only for young boys. The families started coming and they would say, please let us do kirtan, let us take prasadam. The families. Why? Because just because they came in contact with this Punya Shlok Hari Prabhu. So like that, when our heart is overfilled with love for Krishna, then you can give that love to others. That is preaching, right? So the point here is when we all become very enthusiastic to share that Krishna consciousness with others. But sometimes what happens, if we are not mature, we can take very wrong steps such that we may uplift a person halfway, but make him fall even lower than what he was before. Like we are all climbing ladder, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. Like that ladder is there. So different people are different levels. Most of us are, most of the people in Kali Yuga is full Karma Kanda or Karma Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga to forget. And Jnana Yoga also very, because Prayana Alpayusha Sabhya Kalavas Yuge Janaha Manda Sumanda Matayoho Manda Bhagya Yupadrutaha. Everyone is very dull in Kali Yuga. So we cannot tell big things. So Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga also not many people, maybe few people, right? Most of us are in Karma Yoga. So to transition from Karma Yoga to Bhakti Yoga, we should help the Jiva. So many Jivas are also on the ladder. Maybe they are out of Vedas also some people. Some people are in the Vedas but Karma Kanda. Some are doing some Jnana Kanda. Some have started, oh Krishna, I should offer something, Bhagwan ko arpan karna hai. Like that, so Karma Yoga they have started. This is the most of, like 90% of population. Maybe 95%. Remaining 5% is ISKCON or other Vaishnava Sampradayas. So now we want to pull a person from the lower rung of the ladder to higher level. What we should do? We should help him. Like for example, if a person is in the well, like deep in a dry well, he fell down somehow. Now you have to give a rope for him to come above. Now there are three things you should know. First thing is, you should analyze whether the rope is reaching him. Correct? Now if you throw a short rope, can he come? नहीं. मतलब जब नया व्यक्ति आएंगे यहाँ सेंटर पे और आप पूरा ज्ञान कांड, like you talk about Ashtanga Yoga for example, will he understand anything? No. So you have to come down to his level and speak at his level. That is called compassion, right? So we cannot, for example, once चैतन्य चरण प्रभु एक प्रसिद्ध वैष्णव है इस्कॉन समाज में, तो वो अपने गुरुदेव से पूछ रहे थे क्योंकि वो इंटेलेक्चुअल है, like from birth is very very intelligent. So whenever he gives class, जब भी क्लास देते हैं ऐसे बोलते हैं कि like many people don't understand because very high language and high concepts like that. Nowadays he started making diagrams and teaching because very high concepts he uses. So he was asking his Gurudev that Gurudev, जब भी मैं क्लास देता हूँ बाकी लोगों को समझ में नहीं आता है तो मैं क्या करूँ? So how do I make them understand? Then his Guru told him, very simple. What is that? You should just learn to have compassion for them. When you have compassion for them, then you know what they need. Otherwise, we are very busy thinking that whatever I give, they should take. Like for a newborn baby, up till 6 months, what food it can digest? Cerelac also little later. Which milk? Breast milk. Only mother's milk. Correct? Now exclusive breastfeeding it is called. Of course, nowadays formula made feeds also there, but anyway, the point is, it cannot digest anything else. You cannot give wheat and this and that. It will have loose motion and so many problems will come. Similarly, when a person comes new, he's like a newborn baby. So you cannot feed him full Jnana Kanda, this Kanda, that Kanda, full Bhagavatam and all that. How will he understand? Correct? So we should have compassion for them and come down to their level. So then when we give, they can digest. Right? So that is compassion. So we have to feel for the other person. Then Krishna in the heart will see a genuine desire to serve the other person and reveal what you have to do. Otherwise, every time we just think that I know so much philosophy, now let me just compress it like a zip folder and give everything, like unload it onto the other person. And often the other person only gets discouraged and sometimes people even leave. Like for example, many times Shiva Bhaktas come to ISKCON, like program chal raha hai वैसे. many of them are sincere devotees, sincere seekers. Actually, वो भगवान कौन है वो सब ढूंढ रहे हैं, right? But family brought up के कारण से वो मानते हैं कि Lord Shiva is the topmost, all that. तो जब वो आते हैं, if some fanatic person, Krishna is the supreme person of Godhead करके, कौन है शिव? शिव कृष्ण के दास हैं. He is Vaishnavana Meta Shambhu. He is not God, and Lord Shiva ran behind Mohini Murti. He cannot control his senses. Like that, ऐसे बोलेंगे तो वो शिव भक्त क्या उसका क्या होगा? वो भाग जाएंगे, correct? तो क्या? So basically, I'm saying maturity is important. That maturity comes from compassion, right? वैष्णव जन तो तेरे कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने पर दुखे उपकार करे तो ये मन अभिमान नाने. So Vaishnava, this is by Narsimha Mehta. So he says, who is a Vaishnava? Vaishnava is characterized by compassion. So unless until we can have the compassion to give to others, we cannot actually touch their heart, right? So उसके लिए क्या करना है? जन्म सार्थक करी कर परोपकार. So rather than jumping to give everyone so that I can show that I am a very great devotee because I have preached to everyone, so I am a great devotee. So instead of doing that, we should focus on, is my heart also becoming cleansed, right? Otherwise, there will be pride of Krishna Bhakti. I am a Krishna Bhakta. Then later, Krishna is Supreme Person of Godhead because I am his Bhakta. That bhav comes, like that. So pride is very subtle. So the whole point I am trying to make is, we have to have maturity in delivering to others, right? So that is the point. We have to throw rope, and rope should reach the person. Otherwise, how will he catch the rope from the well? Now everyone, like Prahlad says, that this world is Andhakupa. It's a blind well. You don't know how deep it is, and most of us have already fallen in it. And if a person like Prabhupada, he would come and throw a short rope. Can we catch that rope? No. But what Prabhupada did, he threw such a rope that the whole world can catch on and be out of the well, right? So we should also imbibe the mood of Srila Prabhupada. And what Prabhupada did through his speech, because most of our rope is through speech only. When we have to reach out to someone, it's through speech. One thing I told you, we should speak according to the understanding of the audience. That's why I'm trying to speak as much Hindi as possible. When it confuses me, I stop. Otherwise, I'll forget what I should speak. So we should, our rope to pull out the person from the well, mostly our speech and also our action, because actions speak louder than words, right? So in our speech, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 17th chapter, Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyam hitam chayat, right? So we have to control our tongue. We should not simply keep blabbering, but what should our speech be? Satyam. It should be truthful. But if you imagine a new person comes and then you tell him that, oh, you're a karmi, you're attached to fruitive work, you're attached to enjoying wealth in this world, you're an ignorant fool, because Shankaracharya says Abhay Govinda moodhamate, so you're a fool. Like that, if you tell a new person, will he be encouraged to practice bhakti? No, he won't be encouraged to practice bhakti. So we should say Satya, but Satya should be Priyam, it should be pleasing, correct? So we should tell, of course he is ignorant. So like even if you see Krishna is telling Arjuna how? Ashocyan, 2:11, Ashocyan anvasochastvam. Ashocyan. Arjuna, don't worry, you're lamenting, आप रो रहे हो? इस बात पे कोई नहीं रोता है. Correct? This is not worthy of lamentation. Right? So one should not speak words that are agitating to another. Correct? If you call them fool, ignorant, this and that, they'll become very agitated. So it should be, Satya should be Priyam. Correct? Not you have to compromise Satya, but speak that much what is digestible, like the newborn infant. Right? That's one thing. Second is Hitam. So it should also be Hitam. Sometimes we go on flattering, like Aho Dhvani Aho Rupam. You know that story? Aho Dhvani Aho Rupam. So once a donkey went to the wedding of a camel, and camel means unt, donkey means gada, both. So this donkey went to the wedding of a camel, and the camel, they were, like reception होता है ना, so reception time पे गया वो, और ये गधा पूछ रहा है, like they have their normal conversation, and the donkey understood, मुझे कुछ तो अच्छा बोलना है इसके बारे में, तो he told the camel, oh today you're looking so beautiful, then camel said, oh I also should say something nice to the donkey, and he said, oh today your voice is so sweet, but this actually a camel is not beautiful, nor is a donkey's voice sweet, so aho dhvani aho rupam. So this kind of flattery is not encouraged by Krishna. He is not saying do this aho dhvani aho rupam. Priyam means what? You say satya, but you should say in such a way that other person can take it. Correct? So that is one. Then satyam, priyam and hitam. It should also be beneficial, not simply flattery. It should be satyam also, but sometimes satyam, only satyam may not be so, even if it's pleasing, it may not be very digestible, or it may not be very beneficial. Then you don't have to speak. For example, you know that story of that cow, cow and the butcher and the brahmana. So I'll not tell full story because moral is something else, but the point is the cow was running away from a butcher, and then the brahmana was standing at the junction of crossroad, and the cow took left, and the butcher came and asked brahmana, where did the cow go? And he said, oh I'm a brahmana, I should be truthful. So he said left, and the butcher went and killed the cow. So and then next janma something else happens, the brahmana gets killed in the next life. But the point is, what is the use of that satya? Correct? Ultimately satya should be in line with dharma, otherwise the satya has no value. Correct? So whenever we speak something, it should be satya, priya, but most importantly here for today's discussion should be hitam. That is the most important aspect of the entire verse, that Anudvega Karam Vakyam. It should be beneficial. If our speech is taking someone down the ladder of Karma Yoga, what is the use of your speech? If our speech is, discouraging a person from practicing Krishna consciousness, then why do you speak? Like Saint Francis in the Bible says, a devotee of God must learn to preach 24/7. If required, he may speak. He has to preach 24/7. If required, he may speak. What does that mean? That means we should live such an example and not simply, only through speech will we preach. Right? सिर्फ हमारा वाक्य से हम प्रचार नहीं कर रहे हैं. हमारा actions, right? हमारा what do you call आचार विचार? Yeah. So through आचार we have to preach through our example. So satyam, priyam and hitam. Correct? And Prabhupada showed all these three in, like for example, when he was cooking for so many hippies in the West, he never told anyone please come and help. He would do cooking, and that too for so many, 40, 50, 100 like that, for so many people alone. A 70-plus-year-old man is cooking. He would wash the vessels himself, serve prasad to all the hippies, clean the place, clean the vessels, and go to rest. Alone, one person. Correct? So difficult it is. It's unimaginable. I mean, we can say Jai Prabhupada, but what is the purport of Jai Prabhupada? So we have to understand the struggle of Srila Prabhupada. And then after countless number of such events, then one devotee went and asked, I'm not remembering which devotee is that, he went and asked, or she went and asked, Prabhupada, I think, can I help you in any way? Then Prabhupada had tears in his eyes, and he said, I was waiting for someone to ask. Like that. So Prabhupada has done so much. If he just said, I am the Senapati Bhakta as per the Shastra, I have come to deliver all of you, please follow me. If he assumed authority, then would anyone respect him? No. He had such a disposition of earning authority. Correct? Especially in West, but also now in the Western India, in Westernized India, we cannot assume authority. You cannot say, I'm elder than you, hence follow. I'm your teacher, hence follow. I'm your father, hence follow. सबको ऐसे हाथ जोड़ के मांगना पड़ता है. Correct? I have to become humble. So like that. So our rope is the first one. It should reach the other person. Otherwise there is no use. Now second one is relationship. What is that relationship? Now you may throw the rope, the person is at the bottom of the well, but उनको आप पे विश्वास है क्या? Maybe once you pull him, you might sever his throat and take the money. He might think like that. Maybe you have some other agenda, you might exploit him. Correct? So like that, so he might not trust you enough. So hence he will not catch the rope. Correct? Then he will remain in the well. So what we should do? we should earn that trust. How do we earn the trust? Through our action. So when we are actually acting in Krishna consciousness, like many devotees, disciples of Prabhupada, they became disciples by just observing Prabhupada's actions. Like of course, recently His Holiness Badrinaran Maharaj, he left his body. He said how he came to Krishna consciousness, he came to one temple and saw Prabhupada drinking water like this. I mean, I just took one gulp. Prabhupada was continuously taking. He said, how? This is like so mystical. Of course, that's not the reason for anyone to take Krishna consciousness, but Prabhupada was such a wonderful personality that even his simple acts could inspire bhakti in so many devotees. So that's how he came to Krishna consciousness. So through our activities, we should earn the trust of another. We cannot demand that someone will follow whatever we say. Correct? So, only till what time I can go? 10 minutes. Okay. So, when we throw the rope, we should also make sure, does the person have sufficient trust in us that he is ready to catch the rope and come out. If you don't establish relationship, means if you're not acting in a loving manner, thinking about their welfare. For example, now a new person comes, right? If you just, okay, you are all absorbed in class, हम तो कृष्ण भक्त हैं, जब प्रवचन चल रहा है, we don't get distracted. So if that new person comes, he sits at the door, then he'll see what people are doing, and then he'll go away. Rather, if at least one of us can go and welcome him, make him sit in front, give some seat, give some asan, give water, he'll be so much transformed. Because in this world, the only thing that is lacking is genuine love. Everyone is seeking for love, and Krishna Bhaktas are the only people who have that love because they are in connection with Krishna. And if we become careless to not give it to others, then it's very unfortunate. Correct? So we have to be very, very mindful of our dealings with everyone. It may be devotees, it can even be non-devotees. There are so many non-devotees who just by seeing the right example of a devotee can become a devotee. There are so many potential devotees all around. But we act fanatic, we act very proud as a devotee of Krishna, then it disappoints and discourages so many people from taking up to bhakti. So relationship is second one. Third one is the other person having strength to catch the rope and climb out? How many of you have climbed through a rope? Rope climbing? Mataji? Okay, one Prabhu and one Mata. Okay, two Prabhus and one Mata. That's all, na? Yeah, it's a little difficult. So if you give rope and it's like a deep well, and you say, come out, Prabhu, come out, and you're being very impatient, that's very difficult. How will the other person come out? Correct, no? So we should understand that he's not having sufficient strength. Give him some space, give him some encouragement. Like for example, a father is helping the child to ride a cycle, and then the child is riding, again he falls, or again he stops, etc. Then he gives a little push. By giving a little push, the cycle will go for a small distance and the child can practice paddling, correct, no? Like that. But what if the father just pushes so hard that the cycle will go? Then what will happen to the child? Many times our preaching is like that, correct, no? जब हम बोलते हैं ना, सिर्फ हमको उसके बारे में थोड़ा ये like we feel proud of what we spoke, but nobody feels happy about it, like that. So as it you cannot just give such a push to others. Give them their space. Allow them to breathe. Correct, no? Or sometimes they come to temple and then we'll say, you see, now sit. Like yesterday one person came to our temple, Sajapur Center, and he came like 5 o'clock. What can you do? What can you do with a person who comes at 5 o'clock? You can give him Japamala. But imagine when such a person comes, you give him Japamala and say that now you chant 16 rounds. Will he chant 16 rounds? He'll get fed up of chanting. That means first and last. Correct, no? So we should give people their space. Correct? We should honor them, we should respect them by giving them their space, giving them the time. Now Vidura and Dhritarashtra we see, Vidura was so many times humiliated. Now even after Draupadi disrobing event at Hastinapur, when it happened, after that Dhritarashtra was feeling so much turmoil in his heart that आज तो गलत किया, ऐसा नहीं होना था. So then he immediately in the middle of the night called Vidura. Vidura, please come, please tell me how I can protect my sons, how I can bring auspiciousness to our dynasty. Our daughter-in-law Draupadi had been attempted to be disrobed. then this is not a good thing. ये श्रेयस की बात नहीं है. So he was very much frightened by the consequences. So then he called Vidura and he asked what to do. And Vidura said, "Oh Dhritarashtra, you are talking about bolting the doors of a stable after the horses have run out. You are talking about saving a farm when everything is already burnt to ashes. What is the use of this? From throughout the event of before W was disrobed, I was telling you don't do this, because Vidura was the only person who spoke very strongly. This should not happen like this, like that." So then Vidura told him like that, and he said, "If you really ask me what to do, tell your guards to catch that Duryodhana, seize him, tie his hands and legs, force him to go to the Pandavas who have been exiled and fall at Yudhishthir Maharaj's feet and ask for forgiveness. That is the only way to prevent the dire consequences of disrobing Draupadi." Like that, when he said, then Dhritarashtra he lost it, and he said, "Vidura, now I understood. My suspicion about you got confirmed. I was just thinking that maybe you are partial to Pandavas. Today I understood that you are always partial. Go wherever you want, and I don't care about you." So then Vidura was also happy. He did not want to come to a place where women are not respected. So he left to Pandavas. He went to Pandavas in the exile. He was there. But next day, then Dhritarashtra said, "But who is there to give me counsel?" So he again called Vidura back, like that. So the point is, Vidura was always being neglected, and he tried to give counsel, he tried to give advice, but he never listened. But still, Vidura knew that Dhritarashtra has some hope, he will change. So imagine a person, some person is coming and you open the door for him, and somehow he was on phone, so he did not come through the door. Like you enter the room, you open the door and kept the door open for him, please come. But he was on call, so he didn't come immediately. So what will you do? You just keep the door little open so that he can come after his call. You give him some time. Or you take the door and slam on his face. What do? You leave the door open. Similarly, when the person is not able to, not having the strength to catch, or he is making very slow steps, he is taking very slow steps, slowly he is coming, what we should do? Drop the rope? No, we should be there holding the rope, otherwise he cannot come. So Vidura did that. He was so patient with Dhritarashtra. He knew for Dhritarashtra, when his sons will die, only then his heart will change. He was all the while dealing so patiently with Dhritarashtra that after the battle of Kurukshetra, when all his 100 sons died, then he had a parivartan in his heart. And then Dhritarashtra actually went to the forest and followed the instructions of Vidura. Correct? So he did make spiritual progress, but it took so much time. So Krishna is not saying that you should waste time on people who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, but give them the space, give them the time. Don't shove Krishna consciousness down the throat. Correct? See their digestive capacity, give them accordingly. Right? So these things, so we can just learn how to preach, because Prabhupada on Vyasasan, he would speak so high philosophy, very strong, no illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling. And practically all of his audience were doing just that. Right? But off the Vyasasan, he would behave in such a way that it would melt the heart of any ordinary person. Right? When for the first house he went to after landing on the in US was Saleh Agarwal, and they were meat eaters, but Prabhupada so much tolerated them and even started cooking for them. They liked his cooking. After a few months, when Prabhupada had to leave Pennsylvania to New York, then what happened? Saleh Agarwal, who was not at all a devotee, but she had tears in his eyes and she said, "Prabhupada, I will miss you." That was the impact we should have on people who come in contact with us. Like we said, I work in a clinic in the evening, so somehow some topic discussion came, because it's all cosmetology, women facial beauty, like that only. Then one of the technicians, she was like pulling my leg, what do you think, this lady is beautiful, etc. I said, in this world, the women, the most beautiful women, they are like cockroach in front of the heavenly damsels, and the heavenly damsels are like cockroach in front of Mother Lakshmi and the goddess of fortune in Vaikuntha. And I thought it was a cutting thing, fitting reply to their pulling my leg. Actually, they were so discouraged, because they're all working in cosmetology for so long. For them, women beauty, that is only all in all for their thing. So when I said, I was very proud, but then I saw that actually, instead of helping them progress towards Krishna, I actually discouraged them. I said, this is in Shastra that you can, your women beauty is not at all significant in this world. Then I saw that they were so disappointed. Then I told him, no, what it meant is that I just reconciled something. The point is, we should deal with people in a way that helps them to come closer to Krishna. It's not about our ego. It's not about how great a devotee I am. It's about what is needed for that person to go towards Krishna. That one question I should ask. It's not about protocols. It's not about syllabus. It's not about first this session, then this session, and this session, then he'll become devotee. No. There are no sessions, no protocols, no nothing. Bhakti comes only from bhakti. So if a person has to become bhakta, he needs the bhakti in your heart. And that bhakti symptom is or symptomatized by compassion. So you should ask, what should I do at this moment so that this person can go one step closer, not 100 steps, one step closer to Krishna. Maybe I should just, tell them, Prabhu or Mataji, I'm there for you, don't worry. Sometimes we cannot do anything for the person. Some people are in such difficult situation in their life, they only need someone to say, I'm there for you, Prabhu, like that, correct now? So in that way, we discussed three things basically. One, if a person, like most of the people in this world, they are in the ditch of the material world, Andakupam. So how do we save that person? That is what is preaching all about, saving a person from the well of this material world. So first, we throw a rope. What is that rope? Speech, correct now? Through our speech, mainly through our speech and also our actions, but most of our preaching is by speech, philosophy. We should make sure that it is reaching the other person, it's reaching their heart, it's reaching their ideals. Like Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, there's one more sannyasi, like he was a sannyasi in ISKCON, and recently his appearance day was celebrated. When he would, many times you will see his photo, he's not in the ordinary Indian sannyasi dress. He's in some different colorful dress. And many people who do not understand his mood would ridicule him. How are you wearing this dress as a ISKCON sannyasi? This is not good. But why he would do that? Through wearing, despite being a sannyasi, he would wear all that colorful dress. And by that, what happened? Many people in South Africa became devotees. Many tribal people became devotees. So just imagine. So a pure devotee is expert at adjusting as per time, place, circumstance, the instructions of the Shastra to bring people closer to Krishna. So we have to make sure our rope is reaching the person in the well. Second, do we have a relationship that the person can trust me in climbing and coming out? Correct, no? So we have to establish a loving relationship. Love and care is very important part of preaching. We have to express love. Love means what? What can I do to serve you and please you? Serve and please, that is love. Without service and pleasing, you try to help another person simply on the ego platform that I helped you because I am great. We don't want that. We want to help another person. That loving relationship is must, right? Through sharing gifts, through being for them when they need. Like for example, a friend's mother passed away. You call them and say, don't say that anyway your mother is not the body and all that. Philosophy, nobody needs that time. They need what? Warmth. They need love. They need compassion. Correct? So like that. So establish a loving relationship so that the person can climb the rope and come out. What is third? Yes, very good. Jai. So the third is, does the person have strength? He's not able to come up the rope, climbing the rope, come out of the well at the speed which I want him to come. So what I'll do? I'll leave the rope, I'll go away. No, just be there for them, give them their space, give them the time, give them encouragement, and then they'll come out. And this three steps, if you remember, then our preaching can become very effective. And through preaching, whom are we pleasing? Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. Correct? So they all want that, and we can become instruments of their love to the people of this world. Then our life will be success. Okay? So I'll end here. Thank you, Murli Prabhu, for tolerating me. Sometimes ending the class is also hitam. Ending the class on time. That's real compassion.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much for the wonderful lecture. So we all learned how to preach.